everyone, my name is Rika and thank you so much for stopping by my channel again. So in today's video I want to talk about some of the reasons why I decided to leave Jamaica. Nowhere is perfect, so I just want to give that disclaimer that it's not like I expect perfection from anywhere that I live, and Jamaica is definitely a lovely place and one of the most beautiful places in the world. There's definitely a lot of attachment from me to Jamaica. So these are just some of the reasons that I feel like persons around my age, and based on some of the DMs and emails that I do get, I know that it's not just persons around my age that probably have some of these as reasons why they are thinking about leaving Jamaica, or some of the reasons why they have left Jamaica. So I'm not alone with my line of thinking, but I just thought I would do a video to just share my thoughts and some of the more personal reasons as to why I would have decided to leave. I do have a list here and I'll just be going through them, and I hope that if you like this video you will give it a like. If you have something to share with this community, feel free to leave a comment and subscribe for future videos. So the first reason is and this is definitely more personal is that I was bored. I felt like there wasn't a lot of change in my life, and I do like change. I do like consistent challenges that aren't only available in my professional life, be it a new project at work or whatever the case is, but I just felt like there wasn't any challenges that were presenting themselves to me. So I kind of got into a funk where I was a little bored and it was quite a bit of a routine to me. So I felt like I want to do something to kind of like shift things up a little bit, change things up, and I just felt like possibly not being in Jamaica could have been one of the things that would kind of get me out of that boredom funk. And I want to experience living somewhere else. I have been to the United States for extended periods of time, especially while I was in university. I would do the work and travel program, and it is an exchange program where persons would go to Jamaica, persons would go to the United States for about 3.5 months, usually students who would work and meet persons from different parts of the world. And that's kind of how I first met people who lived in Europe or whatever the case, because I've never been to Europe and I've never really thought about it because I'm an island girl through and through. So yeah, I got to meet those people. Some of them I'm still friends with, and it was really definitely great experiences all along the way. So I wanted to kind of see what it would be like living somewhere that's not Jamaica, where I'm super comfortable with a lot of the things that exist, the status quo, like I know it, I'm there. I'm not going to really kind of force myself to meet people that's new. I'm not going to necessarily explore as much, and in retrospect I really should have explored Jamaica a lot more than I did. I feel like I low-key made myself bored in a sense, because I could have kind of gone out there and put myself out there a little bit more in order to explore more things. I've seen other YouTube channels, persons have left from where they live and gone to Jamaica and they've just explored so much, and I'm just like, wow, these things were available. And it's not necessarily always about money. Sometimes these things are available and it's just the knowledge of them. So I feel like YouTube has really helped a lot of people, including me, to even kind of have things on my bucket list as to like, I can go to this place in Jamaica and it doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg. So that's lovely, and I feel like I probably should have explored some more, so I possibly wouldn't have necessarily been that bored, but I still think I would have come to the conclusion that I wanted to experience living somewhere else. So the next one is I want to earn more money. For the most part, persons who do migrate anywhere usually have some prospects of financial gain to it. So that's definitely one of the reasons why I decided that I want to go ahead and come here to see what it was like. I didn't necessarily do as much research as I probably should have done in terms of like how much people make and for the different career options that are out there. I just assumed it would just be enough. I don't advise anybody to do that, and not that it's not, because minimum wage here is $14 an hour in Ontario, and depending on where in Ontario you live, you possibly could survive on minimum wage, and but if you do have a bit more to offer, you are going to be making more than that. And for the most part, especially if it's more than one person who are sharing the responsibilities of a house, you usually are able to kind of see where that extra income is there. Even if it's just one person doing it, depending if you're living within your means or below your means, you are able to see financial reward from it. I'm not telling anybody they're going to come here and become millionaires tomorrow, so let me just put that into context. Like, you will make more money, but the cost of living is also higher, so you have to also factor that into the more money that you'll be making. So yeah, and some people in Jamaica are making very good wages, and some of them are actually comparable to wages that people make in Canada. So I would also keep that in mind too. So if you need a good up job, you might come here and I make almost the same, because contrary to popular belief, you have people in Jamaica making $500,000 a month. You have people here making like $4,000 a month. So it's kind of the same thing. You get me? So it depends on you and your situation if you would necessarily be making more money. The next thing is crime. I haven't personally really been affected by crime per se, like in terms of directly affected. I feel like everybody in Jamaica is indirectly affected by crime, whether it's because of lack of investment because of crime. So all of us would have less choices of jobs because the more investment, the more jobs that would be available on the island. So crime kind of, you know, does something to negative things to everyone. But I haven't necessarily faced any type of, you know, I've never been robbed, I've never really been assaulted, even though I kind of feel like catcalling in Jamaica is a little aggressive, but that's just kind of the culture there. But it, unfortunately, the one encounter you can have with a crime situation can just end up being the ultimate one, and you lose your life. You know, somebody can be robbing you and you give them all that you have and they feel like you should have had more, or whatever the reasoning is behind it. They can, you know, persons sometimes lose their lives over those things, and you don't have to be doing anything criminal for crime to affect you. And I feel like that kind of scared me, and I just wanted to see if I could go somewhere where the crime rate was lower. Clearly it's not perfect, nowhere is perfect, it's not heaven, it's not a, you know, it's not a utopia, so you are going to have issues. But at the same time, the crime is a lot lower here, and I feel like guns aren't as readily available. I think, I don't know the statistics, I don't know like everything that's happening because I don't even watch the news that much. Even in Jamaica I didn't necessarily watch the news that much, but just even through you know, just talking to people, you could know, and you have the general sense of that crime is a big issue in Jamaica and it affects Jamaica a lot. So that was one of the reasons why I decided that I would want to leave. The next one is healthcare. Again, I didn't necessarily have any big surgeries in Jamaica. I've never had a bad experience with the healthcare that was available, but then I am a fairly healthy person. I don't necessarily need special treatment. There isn't anything, I don't necessarily have to go to the doctor that often, if you get what I mean. So for should anything happen, or should, you know, as I get older, I would want the availability of, you know, really good healthcare. So I decided that, you know, maybe what's available isn't necessarily optimal, and should anything happen, I would just like, you know, I would just like better option. Obviously people go to the hospital and don't make it out multiple places in the world. It's not just Jamaica. It's not like Jamaica has the worst healthcare system in the world, but the option was just there with this package that I chose to come to Canada. So, you know, that was just one of the reasons. I haven't been to a lot of hospitals, but I do have friends who are nurses, and you know, you do see things where they complain about the resources, you know, the over, like a lot of things. So you do get an understanding of what it is should you get, you know, critically ill, what's going to kind of be the reality that's going to face you. And again, I do not think healthcare here is perfect, but just the option is, you know, better. It was available. Honestly, that was my next reason for leaving. I was going to do my master's in Jamaica, or, you know, coming here I did my postgraduate certificate. So realistically it was available. It's not that I had the type of money that it would need to come here just laying around, so I didn't take this decision lightly because it took a lot of sacrifices on my end to, you know, to be able to foot this bill. But I feel like it was a good choice. And to do your master's in Jamaica, I think it's about $2 million, correct me if I'm wrong, based on just very surface research that I did. I think that's what I was seeing. And if I was going to do my master's in Jamaica, I would also have to be going to school and working at the same time. If I came here, I just went to school full time, and I feel very fortunate to have been in that position, because I know that's not necessarily the case for everyone. So I just decided to do that, and I, you know, given that you could stay here afterwards, I felt like that was definitely a bonus, and I thought it would be worth the investment, because either way I was going to spend that money on something educational, but it just cost more here since I wouldn't have necessarily been working. But yeah, it was available. I was low-key at a crossroads in my life, if that makes sense, where, as I mentioned, I want to do my master's. I kind of wanted to see, you know, what the world had to offer. I don't know if this is just a stop along the way, and I will think about living somewhere else for a few years just to kind of, you know, experience different cultures and see what's out there. Kind of feel like it's probably the final stop for me. I don't know, but you know, your mind changes, and as you get older, you know, things are put into different perspective. I don't know if, you know, 10 years ago if Canada was really on my mind, so who knows 10 years from now what would really be on my mind in terms of somewhere to live. So I was at a crossroads. I felt like, I doubt it was really there, I felt like I was at a crossroads, and I decided to choose, you know, this turn. I want to experience the different seasons, but to be perfectly honest, I just feel extreme cold and kind of warm. I know some people are kind of like
the humidity when they're foreign it worse and whatever. Jamaica you have the breeze and whatever like
but I don't ever thought about the truth, you know, because my experience in Jamaica when time place well hot, I feel like my eyeball them fry out on my head like, and I've never experienced that type of heat here. Like it's gotten pretty warm. Like I'm not going to say that it's not really warm, but sometimes these experiences are for people who haven't been in Jamaica for a while, so they don't necessarily have it to compare. Or, you know, some people just do feel that way. It's very subjective, like how you feel about the different temperatures and heat and whatever the case is. But for me, I feel like I want to experience the different seasons, but I feel like here it's just winter and somewhat summer. So I don't know if I've necessarily experienced all four, but I'm grateful for the experience. And I wanted to change careers, so I got into banking. My first official job, I was a teller, and then I moved into marketing in that same company. After being in marketing, I felt like I wasn't necessarily as creative as I thought I was, and I was so happy for that experience though, because I met so many great people and I learned so much, and I feel like it kind of gave me, you know, some perspective as to what I really wanted. I did do marketing or communication marketing at UE, and then I felt like, oh, I definitely wanted to go in marketing right away. Having experienced it, I did feel like as I said, I wasn't necessarily as creative. I didn't have the type of drive that I felt like I needed to have in order to have that type of pull on people's, you know, behavior, to invoke behavioral change, because marketing does ask for a call to action and behavioral change. No one is paying the marketing department, well, at least I don't think, it's paying the marketing department to just put up things. You do want people to engage in it, whether it be social media, billboard, you want them to buy your products, you want their knowledge, their baseline knowledge to increase about what you do. There is something that you want to get out of it, and I don't know, I just didn't feel like I was that creative. I don't feel like my writing is really that great to be like, wow, this girl's an amazing writer, or my Photoshop skills are just terrible. So to be honest, I just felt like, okay, maybe this isn't for me. I experienced it. Let me try something else. So I don't know if I was going to do my master's in Jamaica, if it would be in HR. I don't know what it would have been in, to be honest. I feel like it would have still been in marketing. I would have probably tried to upgrade myself and do some more courses or something like that to make myself better or more valuable to the department. So when I came here though, I really thought HR would have been a very easy choice. I felt like, speaking from a place of complete ignorance, I think I really felt like HR was just a contract that they do to when they just start work at a place, and they also did the interviews with you, and I felt like HR was just mainly recruiting. I didn't really get that they did so much more. But when I actually got into the field, I realized, oh, like there's a lot that goes into human resources, and it's not just like this one thing. But I feel like when persons don't necessarily work in a department, they are left to make those types of assumptions because they just really don't know. So having gone through it and going through school, I realized that this is a lot more than I bargained for, but I was still very okay with making that step, because I felt like I would still get to help people, and I feel like that's kind of important to me, because most jobs that you do, you are going to get a salary, so there's a reward there. But then when you realize how much you impact people's lives, I feel like that is the intrinsic reward that I look for in a job or in a particular position. And the next one, and I kind of mentioned this throughout the video, that I want to further my education. So regardless, I was going to go back to school to do something, to get additional training, to, you know, upgrade myself. Yeah, like, so regardless, it was going to be an option where I would have to kind of buckle down and go back to school. And yeah, those were the reasons why I decided to leave. I feel like this really covered everything. So if you have your thoughts and your reasons as to why you are thinking about leaving Jamaica, or as to why you have left Jamaica, feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section below. Give me a like if these are some of the reasons you have decided or you're thinking about as well. And you can subscribe for more content like this and other types of fun videos that I come up with or that you guys suggest to me. Have a great summer, and stay safe.